Wing Commander 4 is a heavily story-driven game. It's my belief that games that have heavy story require a healthy dose of showing that actual story. Now, most reviews, they're going to sum it up for you really quickly. They won't show you too much, and I tried really hard to cut this down. Try as I might, I was unable to cut this down to a level where I felt the story was justified. I gave the story a proper justification, while fitting it in a small time frame. It's not possible with this game. I'm gonna say it for all the reviews out there. Every other review I'm sorry. I had to have this almost 2 hours long. There's no other way to do it. I've done plenty of other story-driven games before, but this one requires every last second. I've got plenty to say. There's plenty to show. Hope everybody will stick around, pause it, and come back if you want. But this is my review of Wing Commander 4: The Price of Freedom, starring some well-known, I guess, B-listers at the time, but at various times some of these people were A-listers, including Mark Hamill of Star Wars, Malcolm McDowell of The Clockwork Orange, John Rhys Davies, Indiana Jones, Tom Wilson from Back to the Future, Jason Bernard, who's in Liar Liar, While You Were Sleeping. This is, of course, an interactive movie. Wing Commander really was the strong point of all interactive movies. Wing Commander 3 and 4 especially. And I'm going to say it right now, this is the best acted computer game of all time featuring real actors. It's the best. It is, without a doubt, the best. If there was Academy Awards for computer gaming acting, which there should be by now, I think, because it's, the voice acting especially is getting bigger and bigger. If there was categories for this thing, Mark Hamill deserved an Academy Award for it. Malcolm McDowell also, this is superb acting from the top stars. Some of the other ones, it can be a little cheesy, like most interactive movies were back in the day. But the top actors, the named actors in this are absolutely superb. Now, the story of this game takes place after Wing Commander 3, the death of the war with the Kilrathi, which featured in the games Wing Commander 1 through 3. So the war with the cat-like Kilrathi race is over now, so we can all rest, right? Everything's nice, right? No, well, there's a price. Price to freedom, and roll credits there. Well, as we all know, our race is capable of doing some of the most terrible, egregious things imaginable. So, I guess nobody really thought that peace thing would last very long, would it? This intro has already been, 3 minutes long. In real life, it's over 10 minutes long. The Wing Commander 3, which was one of the first interactive movies. It was definitely the first truly successful interactive movie, and it ushered in just tons and tons and tons of copycats. But Wing Commander 3 was doing a balancing act between storytelling and gameplay, as it had a lot. It was already a successful series. Wing Commander 1 and 2 were tremendously successful and wonderful games in their own right. Wing Commander 3 was a risk from Chris Roberts, the game's creator, to turn this into a movie-like quality element while having the original gameplay there and immersing you in a gameplay as well as story. Wing Commander 4 just features heavy story. So much damn story, possibly at the expense of gameplay. We'll get into that more later. But here is some of these story-driven, choose-your-own-adventure kind of elements here. We can choose to treat this guy asking us for some money. We can choose to treat him like a bum and say, get the hell out of here, you don't need money. Or we can give him a few bucks. There is a very small payoff very much later in the end game for that. And that is a problem I have with Wing Commander 4 and Wing Commander 3's choices. When you have choices in the interactive movie segments, they are so terrible. My main issue with the choices in this game are that they are so terribly black and white. You are either an angel or you are the devil, It's like, there's no, okay, somebody's getting wronged, so I can be a bastard and, I don't give a shit, not my business. Or we can be the mighty hero, and then some of the other ones, we can be, a typical Republican-based, war is the answer to everything. Or we can be more democratic. No, we've had enough of this war shit. It's time to end this crap, And it all comes down to very much, I don't doubt there are people that genuinely would choose these evil options because that's the kind of person they are. I don't doubt it. But for me, as a person, it is so hard for me to choose these other options, and sometimes they offer different gameplay. But despite that, it's just so hard for me as an individual to choose these options that are so obviously, from an intellectual perspective, it is so obvious that the creator, Chris Roberts, did not want you to choose these other options. So why are they even there? That is the question. It's not a nuance, okay, there really are people that believe in this, war is the answer to everything kind of thing. That's not how it's being presented as an intellectual. It is so obvious that Chris Roberts wants you to choose the good options, to be the hero. It is so obvious. And that these other options are just there to give you a sniff of interactive falsity. So it's all a little too black and white for me, and I'll get more into that as we come across some more of those choices later on in the game. But here we have our first glimpse after a good 10-15 minutes of intro. We have our first glimpse of actual gameplay, and I will say the gameplay in Wing Commander 4 is mostly good. It's a little different. It's based off the same exact game engine that was in Wing Commander 3. Graphics are pretty much the same, other than, I will say, one great thing about this is they've changed the color of the background, the space. The actual space is now black. In Wing Commander 3, it was blue. So here we are, getting a chance to get a shot at our old nemesis, Maniac. I'm showing you guys the options so you know where I'm talking about as a game player reviewer. I am playing at the default level of Ace. I think a lot of people online, they go into that options menu, and they're changing that to rookie. Maybe they're changing it to invulnerable, too. I'm telling you, it's a completely different game. It's an utterly different game when you are playing this game in rookie mode. Different than Wing Commander 3, even. I want to criticize the game because I feel that they altered the difficulty of this game in thinking that everybody would change it to rookie mode. I'll get more into that a little later, but I do feel that this game is way more about getting a lock on an enemy target or them getting a lock on you. And, it's just, I don't feel that is a good mechanic to this game, and it's not the same as other games. But here we get a little more of the story. A lot more story is told within the gameplay in Wing Commander 4. So here we have this, pre-drawn out scene here where there's nothing you could do for this huge-ass space station. One lone little bomber gets to destroy the entire station with a couple torpedoes there. And, yeah, nothing you can do. So, there were a couple of those little segments in Wing Commander 3, but there are a lot more of these telling the story through the actual gameplay. That can be a good or bad thing depending on the situation. And in this particular situation, it's a nice little added feature. It makes you feel like you're connected to these pilots in space and stuff, and it does feel good to have some of the story told through the actual, playing of the game rather than just watching of the movies. But that's not always a good thing in some scripted kind of events that you feel you should have more input in, you feel like you should be able to save the day, or maybe you feel like you should fail. Maybe there's a chance, like, why can't I fail that mission? But no, it's scripted in, you gotta win. So it's double-edged sword there. I think overall, Wing Commander 4 does a very good job with it, but it certainly deserves to be noted. So, now that we've gotten our tutorial gameplay out of the way, we are again faced with another big, 15-minute scene here. Just more story exposition. We are with our buddy Maniac, and he is kind of a buddy in Wing Commander 4, which I enjoy so much. because I feel that the character of Maniac was kind of betrayed in Wing Commander 3 in a way. He came off as such a asshole, and I want to use some other words. I don't want to just say asshole. I want to use some very, very harsh words in the way Maniac was portrayed in Wing Commander 3 versus how he was portrayed in Wing Commander 1, and as well as Secret Operations 2 in Wing Commander 2. In the Wing Commander 1, everybody knew Maniac was a little nuts. He was a little nutty, he was a little crazy. But Maniac himself, he was never an asshole to you or anybody specifically. Maybe he would talk behind your back a little bit, but he was never an outright asshole. He actually liked you. Anytime he got a chance to talk to you in these games, like, you know, he had respect for you in a way. He wanted to fly on your wing and stuff, but you didn't want to fly on his wing because he's a little crazy. But Maniac himself, he's like this misunderstood, you know, maybe a little arrogant in his flying skills, he's a little too cocky, but he was not an asshole at all. And in Wing Commander 3, he was written as a total asshole, which is funny in a way. It's amusing to see that character because Tom Wilson plays the asshole character so goddamn well. Definitely. We all know him from Back to the Future. He is a quintessential, he is the perfect asshole in those movies. So I understand, you know, where they were going with Wing Commander 3, but at the same time, as a Wing Commander character, Maniac, he was not supposed to be a genuine asshole. I believe Wing Commander 4 brings Maniac back to the character he was supposed to be, in that he actually wanted to be liked by other people. He is cocky, but he wants to be liked. He's a friendly kind of guy. He wants to be your buddy, you know, but nobody really likes him. So now we're exploring the TCS Lexington Confed carrier here. There's a little difference. There's some differences between the DOS and the Windows 95 version of this game. As a kid, we had it on Windows 95. My dad, he specifically waited to buy this game until he saw that it was patched to run in Windows 95 via DirectX, and they claimed it was actually better. And here's what the reference manual has to say about that. It'll give you rudder support, throttle support for your joystick, which they definitely should have had in the DOS version. You can play in a window, who gives a shit. Higher frame rate, they claim. Simulated SVGA, like it's a scaling kind of thing. 16-bit sound, there's 16-bit sound in DOS, I don't know. Command line perimeters, this is a bullshit thing. Things like the Interlace. Now you will notice there's some black lines in this video. This is what I deem fake bullshit interlace, which is caused, basically it intentionally blacks out parts of your screen. About 50% of the screen in total, every other line is a black bar. They do this for CPU speed. It's not an actual CRT thing. I am recording the CRT, as I always do, because I believe it is far better looking than what you would see otherwise using a capture card or emulator. But you will notice the non-movie scenes are a hell of a lot crisper, cleaner, sharper than the actual movie scenes, and that is all because of this fake interlace. Now, Wing Commander 3 gave you the option. It gave you a perimeter line. In the command line, you could do a dash and a no underline interlace, which would cause the movies to play without interlace. In Wing Commander 3 for DOS, which was only a DOS game, Wing Commander 4 rips this ability out from you. You no longer have that ability in Wing Commander 4 if you play it in DOS. I feel it is one of several features that they tacked on to the Windows 95 edition of this game, just to add some bullshit features that should have been in the original DOS version. There was no reason, technically, they shouldn't have been. And overall, I will say that the experience is proper in DOS. Like, it just feels like this is the way it was meant to play. It is actually faster in Windows 95. I remember it being faster in Windows 95 back in the day. However, there are things like the text speed, the way the text scrolls, the color of the mouse cursor. It's black and white, I believe, in Windows 95. It's in color in DOS. It's obvious. Just everything. The gameplay itself, when you're fighting, as long as you have a nice CPU, it just feels more smooth in DOS because that's what it was built upon. It was a later game in DOS, 1996, but there were still plenty of games coming out for DOS in 1996. I will say that despite playing this game originally back in the day on Windows 95, I do believe the better gameplay experience, and it just feels proper running it in DOS, and that's what most people will be running it on these days because DOS has proper emulators. Windows does not. So we're starting our first real mission. You may have noticed during the selection, ship selection there, we have all the same ships that we had in Wing Commander 3. Well, we're missing some actually. We have essentially 2 ships. We have the Hellcat, the standard meh Hellcat, and we have the torpedo bomber Longbow that handles like a dog. No, but it might handle badly, but it has all the firepower. I am redistributing my power here, which I always do. I always take the power away from the repair elements and shift them to other systems like guns or shields. To have the shields, repair a little faster. To have the guns fire a little faster. That's what I've always done. And you really need to redistribute your power if you're playing on the Ace mode. This is the Nav. If you want to press the N button, you will come across this navigation feature, and it's still, it's 3D, but it sucks. It's nowhere near as good as the two-dimensional Wing Commander 1, which Wing Commander 2 also featured, but Wing Commander 3 started this three-dimensional navigational map, and I do personally feel it's just not quite right. So like in all Wing Commanders, we have our certain, types of missions. We have our patrols, we have our escorting, we have our, strikes, etc. We are now on an escort mission, the bane of every Wing Commander flyer. We hate the escort missions. I don't really hate them, but for the people that do hate them, I will say Wing Commander 4, with a couple exceptions, there are some terrible cap ship missile exceptions, like there were in Wing Commander 3, that you will absolutely hate. But overall, the escort missions, they're rather easy. They're nothing, not too bad in this game. Pilot AI, you saw me take a little shot there at Vagabond there. Pilot AI is cheatier in this game. I wouldn't quite call it better than Wing Commander 3, but they do provide you help. I feel it is because they're kind of cheating. You will definitely find yourself in many situations where you most certainly got the kill, yet your wingman is taking credit for it. So you might find yourself sometimes intentionally having them stay on your wing just because you're sick and tired of them stealing your kills. They're not exactly stupid though. They won't be there hitting you like in Wing Commander 1 and 2. I do feel that overall, with the amount of ships that you will face, that your wingman actually does provide help. Damage systems in Wing Commander 4 not as good. Wing Commander 1 was the best ever in terms of the damage repair and the way the systems would get destroyed and fixed and things. Again, I always take the damage part off, and then when I get damage, I bring it up so the things can be repaired. It's very rare that you will see individual systems damaged in Wing Commander 4, just like in Wing Commander 3, so it's not that critical of an element like it was in the first 2 Wing Commanders. Back to the Wingman. Besides being, definitely more useful in this game than the previous games, you will also find, other than for your own satisfaction of always getting the kill, you're always going to want to have them break an attack, whereas in previous installments, there was a risk. You didn't want them to break an attack because you were afraid they were going to die. In Wing Commander 4, nobody dies unless it's scripted, so that's a good and bad thing. Sometimes it's good because you get better of a story because of it, but at the same time it really takes you out of the immersion because nobody can die unless it's planned. Here is a mission. I always failed this mission as a kid because you have to follow him behind in a certain amount, and it cuts out. Eisen, tells you follow him 12, and it interferes with itself. You don't know 12 what? What the hell is 12 mean? You don't know. You're supposed to be like 12,000 kilometers, I guess, behind him. You stick behind him for a while, and then you will get the completion. Then you turn around, and that's how you complete the mission. I always failed the first mission. It's one of those missions in Wing Commander. They always have a few of them where it's kind of meant for you to fail. I think this one always was meant for you to fail because they want you to feel like there's, you know, this branching storyline to these games. And other than the very first Wing Commander, no. There was no branching storyline. There was minor branching, which we'll get into. But here is this guy is called Nave Smith. What kind of a name is Nave Smith? He is our communications officer, and he's a fucking asshole. No matter, it doesn't matter if you're successful or a failure. He's just a fucker, and you don't want to deal with him. You never even see him in the actual game. Maybe you can kind of make him out in the background in one scene. But Nave Smith is the worst character in any of these games, really, because he's just so useless. You see him on the communications, but you never see him in the actual game. He is a dick. You are the communications officer. Maybe you should have a nice rapport with your fucking colonel, commander of the flight squadron. Maybe not be a dick to him. I hate Nave Smith. I fucking hate him. This is Catscratch, a new member of the crew here, who wants to Maniac. So I use that Maniac kissing ass bit all the time. And you can choose minor things. This is some of the choosing your element. Do we like him? Well, I got stories for you. You gotta learn him out there in the cockpit. Yeah. So, we like him, so should we choose him in our next mission, his AI will, be a little better, I guess. That's what most of these choices boil down to. What do you want from me? Not too much for nostalgia. I'm a broken war hero. I actually kind of like this response. It's a very, you can definitely tell it's not the choice you're supposed to make, but at least it's not pure evil. It's more of a gray area in the lines he's saying, which I appreciate. Still boils down to, in the next mission, he's either going to play good or he's going to play a little worse. So, here is some of the differences in the briefings that can occur for minor, like you lost the first mission. So, either we've won the first mission or we lost it, so we either know exactly where we're supposed to go, or we don't. So we have to search, go through various areas. As stated previously, there really is no mission branching in this game. But there are missions that you can afford to lose, and there are missions that you cannot afford to lose. So the first mission, we can lose that one, which changes the mission briefing ever so slightly, and this is how most of these things, when you can lose a mission, will normally be followed by a mission where you just have to go to a couple more nav points. It's like more of like a search and destroy. Go through 3 nav points until you find the target, or the last mission was successful, so you know exactly where to go, so it's only 1 nav point that you have to go to. That's the extent of the branching, for the most part, in Wing Commander 4. So this is going to be a strike mission, and again, either we won the last mission or we didn't, so it's either going to be a little harder, or it's going to be a little easier. You're probably going to want to try to win it just to make it a tiny bit easier for you, but it doesn't really make a difference in terms of gameplay. We are now with the Longbow, which has a little turret in the back, which we can rotate. Not quite enough to hit our wingman, unfortunately, usually when they're on our wing. But yeah, they have some new physics in Wing Commander 4, where in the previous Wing Commander, the Longbow was really a terrible fighter to control, because it would just move, just like everything usually, it moves left or right. There's no automatic roll in Wing Commander, but Wing Commander 4 gives you, for certain fighters, it gives you a kind of automatic, kind of tilt to the left when you turn left. It doesn't just go to the left, it kind of rolls to the left, which is nice. You may have noticed that besides our wingman, we had a couple other fighters on our wing, which happens a lot more often in Wing Commander 4 than it did in Wing Commander 3. So, occasionally we'll have some fighting, which is very, very nice when you have a longbow, because, it's not that maneuverable. But here's another example of some more story elements being told within the gameplay. So, Eisen, we finished the mission. Eisen sends us back out. See some skeletons floating in space, which was very creepy the first time I saw that. Several skeletons just hanging out in space there. So we're getting some of the more. We got this new weapon apparently that just hits these transports and just turns the interior into an inferno, just from the inside out kind of thing. Very, very creepy stuff that we're dealing with. Very, very quite Nazi-ish, I would kind of say, and feel. You really get the feeling that there's some very evil people behind all of this. Let me take a minute and talk about Jason Barnard here. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure, but he's Captain Eisen, who I adore. I remember playing Wing Commander 3 as a kid the first time, and he is the perfect captain. And I remember seeing Liar Liar in the theater, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Captain Eisen. I was just so happy to see him in a movie. I'm always so happy when I see some of these Wing Commander people in some movies. Now, unknown to me at the time and quite sad, that was Liar Liar was actually Jason Barnard's last film before he died. I remember seeing him in While You Were Sleeping and some other films too. Like, he's always such a great little character actor, and I was so saddened when I heard about his death long after he actually died. When Wing Commander 5 Prophecy came out and he wasn't in there, I was sad. He was already dead, but I had no idea, and I was like, why couldn't they have at least gotten him back? Wing Commander 5 made me angry about some of their choices that they went with, but I was really sad about the captain not being there, but it was unfortunately because he had died. Now, this is a land-based mission, which is so much better than Wing Commander 3. Wing Commander 3, it gave you some land-based missions that always felt like they were kind of tacked on last minute. Like, what were you thinking? These were unfilled 3D polygons, gray, just various shades of gray. Like, it was like, what were you thinking? This is Wing Commander. You were the pioneers of texture, 3D fake, 3D texture-based kind of thing. You took something 2D and you put a bitmap and you just did it the right way to make it appear 3D. It's like, why couldn't you guys? You're so cutting edge on so many things. Why did Wing Commander 3 land-based missions just look so terrible? And I felt like Chris Roberts just had too much on his shoulder trying to do all these freaking movie scenes. That was just one of those things, one of those areas that he never got to, was making the ground look right. And here it is. This is all, I believe, texture-based stuff. It was 3D. The land is 3D modeled, but they just kind of painted 2D kind of textures onto it, which is very convincing. I wouldn't want to be too very close to it, because yes, it definitely starts to show its pixels once you get really close. This is an interesting mission because we're actually taking pictures. We're not supposed to kind of shoot everything, although in reality you gotta shoot everything. We were told we're more interested in recon than kills, but I brought some leech missions kind of to disable the crafts, so I didn't actually have to kill them as a role-playing element. And what does it do? It gets me killed. And that's the thing about Wing Commander 4, is you get a lock on your ass, especially in these land-based missions. You get a lock, you hear that thing, you run out of decoys, you are dead. It's just like with them. You shoot a missile at them, they're dead. They shoot a missile at you, you're dead. And other previous Wing Commanders, in order to launch a missile at somebody, you kind of had to be right on their ass in order to guarantee a hit. And that wouldn't even kill them all the time. It usually took 2 missiles to kill somebody. Not in Wing Commander 4, which I believe is a bad thing. Now, previously I had told you about there are missions that you can afford to fail, there are missions you cannot afford to fail. This is one of those missions you cannot afford to fail. I'm ejecting to show off what happens. Just to show you what happens when you eject. You'll hopefully get taken back, and he'll say various things. But what does it mean when you have this mission that you cannot afford to lose? This is what it means. In various ways throughout the game, this, a variation of this will happen. You will get sent. Here we're getting sent back to the Admiral. Gonna tell us the glove just don't fit anymore, it seems. They're gonna strip us of our commission. I'm gonna tell you all again, branching storylines, no, this game does not really have them. And Admiral Toll in there is gonna be a fucking dick to us. After all we've done for you, you son of a bitch, you won't even shake our hands. We'll talk about the score a little bit. George Oldziey, I think he pronounces his name a little different. I should have checked that out, but I think it's Oldziey or something, I forget. But this, I believe, is his best musical work in Wing Commander 4. And any of it, it's a very powerful song, and unfortunately, you don't get a chance to hear it unless you do that scene right there where you're failing. Now, overall, I would say that the score for Wing Commander 4 is definitely less memorable than either Wing Commander 1 or Wing Commander 3. But there are certain moments where it's quite powerful. But I feel like overall, there's the same couple tracks that are kind of playing throughout most of the missions. Seems like there is less music in terms of the gameplay, which is where you really notice a lot of the music is during the gameplay when you're fighting things, less so during the actual film. During the film, it's more of a, subtle kind of thing. You just want to play the violin just a little bit in the background there to accent what is the mood currently is. So you don't want to notice the music so much during the actual film, but where it should shine, where it should be in your face during the gameplay, I always felt like the same tracks, and they're not that memorable compared to Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 1. But, it's definitely quality, I would say. Unfortunately, Wing Commander 4 does away with MIDI support, which I really hate. They stream digital audio, which is just, despite what they say, right? They said right there, think of it like an orchestra. No, it's not an orchestra. It's just George with his, Roland Rap 5 or whatever Roland device, the top of the line equipment that he was using to create the music on. All the music is just a recording of that equipment. They kind of make it sound like an orchestra, which is why I always thought it was an orchestra, because that's what they said, which is an utter lie. But the thing is, a lot of the game programmers and the composers, they wanted to take control away from the end user, who was primarily at that point using the shittiest FM-based Sound Blaster cards, which will quite honestly make music that should sound awesome sound like utter shit. So in the mid to late 90s, many games were using this digital audio kind of thing, which was just a recording. But the thing is, if you had top quality sound equipment that could play MIDI, like a Roland card, like a Sound Blaster R, or many other of these general MIDI devices, if you had those cards, it would sound better than the digital audio, which had been, resampled, crunched, or compressed. When you take a compressed thing and then you take it back, it's not going to sound as good as it should, especially when it's being created, which is essentially what it happens when you had a real MIDI card, is the music was created on the spot. So there's an area I'm sure no reviewer is ever going to even think about, but there you go, there it is. I do not like the fact that there's not an option. There is not an option for general MIDI. By all means, default into the digital audio if you want, but you should have the option there, because I'm sorry, but it was created using general MIDI, so it would have been so easy, and it wouldn't have taken a megabyte worth of data to include that kind of support, but you didn't. Speaking as a computer nerd who is into these kind of sound cards and stuff, I don't appreciate that. So Captain Eisen here has been usurped by this other guy, Paulson. Our lovely communication officer there is taking a little warning sign. These guys, these border worlders, these terrible border worlders, have invaded Confed airspace, and we got to teach them a lesson. Now we can murder them. We can murder all the ships and then win this mission, or we can just murder one ship and win the mission. Now I actually got a different wingman. You notice the girl there, which is a separate wingman than from anybody we've met before. Now, I'm very upset about the way this game handles wingman. Her name was Vera, I believe, and The game really leaves you with this disconnected feeling with the Wingmen. You can choose from like 10 Wingmen, but there's only like 3 that you actually see in the story. There's Maniac, there's Vagabond, there's Catscratch. That's it. 3 Wingmen that are actually attached to the story. Unlike all the other Wing Commanders, where you had a Wingman, well then you would see him or she in the storyline. That's not how it goes in Wing Commander 4, and in terms of the gameplay element, they get the worst. Whoever the hell was at the office that day, they get them to come in and do the voice work, and it's pretty bad. Now you might notice here that the video kind of looks a little better here. For some reason, the camera itself, my camera, chose to de-interlace this. I have no idea why or how it did it. There's no option to de-interlace stuff on the camera. Nevertheless, take this as an example of what it would look like de-interlaced. Here's an option where we can choose to kind of go with the action scene, see what's going on with this, you know, whatever the hell they've closed off the deck for, or we can choose to go and talk to Maniac, which is a gray area, another gray area, not too many of them, but I truly like this scene because it makes the Blair-Maniac relationship, you know, really feel genuine. You feel like they're turning this into a friendship. And in all honesty, they should be friends, especially if you've been around since the first Wing Commander, and you get the feeling that everybody hates Maniac, but he doesn't hate you. You know, maybe you have a reason to hate him because he's reckless, but you don't have a reason to hate him as a person because he's just nice to you normally. And here's an example where, you know, this is a side of Maniac you've never seen before, and you feel like he's your friend. And that's what I feel like the Maniac-Blair relationship should be. They should be, you know, buddy-buddy. Maniac can be an asshole. I'm okay with that. But he should never be an asshole to Blair. You know, they've just been through too much shit, and I really appreciate Chris Roberts, you know, writing that character a little deeper in Wing Commander 4. And I will say, like, there is a lot of emotion in Wing Commander 4 compared to Wing Commander 3 and all the other ones, and I really appreciate that. Now, most people are going to do this scene, you know, because it's the action scene. I think this is what they want you to do, kind of thing. They want you to kind of sneak around to see what the hell's going on. What's going on? This is what they want you to do. So a lot of people are going to miss out on that very heartfelt Maniac Blair scene because of that, because you want to see what's going on, because this is the scene that gets your heart pounding kind of thing. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Uh-oh, there's that little bastard we saw earlier. And there he is, just blatantly running past the captain, not saluting him and crap like that? Huh. What's going on? Things are a little more complicated than they first seemed, huh? So here we are in a briefing, and apparently Captain Eisen has gone AWOL. We thought that he was feeding information to the border world. Apparently that's what Paulson is feeding us. He must have gotten wind of it, and now he's enlisted a Maniac, which is that's part of the reason. Once you see this scene and then you think back on that last scene that you had with Maniac, it hits home a little more. So now we're going after Eisen, apparently. Vagabond has a proposal for us. He wants us to take sides here. This is another area where the game is trying to give you the impression that you have a choice, and it does it much better than many games do, but in reality you don't really have a choice, which is unfortunate. I'll get more on that a little later, but here we say yeah, we're gonna go with you, Vagabond. We're gonna go with Eisen, and this is definitely what they want you to choose, most definitely, which I'll go through a little later too, but this is definitely what they make you feel like you should do. Although, I gotta say, the first time I played this game, I did not, because I knew Confed more than I knew Eisen. I went with Confed the first time I played the game. But in retrospect, they are definitely give you all the hints. They're trying to get you to go with Eisen. That's the intent. But I, as a reviewer, going one step further than all the rest. I will say I played two separate, a good course and an evil course. You know, for just the minor differences and some of the little more major differences, just to show you guys, because that's how you properly review a game. You delve into it as deep as possible. That is what a review is. You delve into it. Otherwise, it ain't a review. There's far too many videos out there being called reviews when they aren't reviews. And you really gotta delve into it to give a proper, authentic opinion on a game. And I think there are a lot of people that think I'm not making reviews, maybe more of a whole, like, walkthrough kind of thing. No. This is a genuine 100%. You don't know what reviews are. That's the problem. Too many people do not know what a review is, so they don't think I'm doing reviews. I am most definitely giving an opinion, a very strong opinion on the game, and I delve into it strongly, which is just far too many people just go into it. It's a first impression kind of thing, which is fine, but they label it as a review, which is not fine. I'm only here on YouTube because there is a very, there's sadly an element missing that needs to be there, and I fill a void that not too many people know about, or maybe they don't give a shit about. Fine, but I definitely fill a void. And now here is the other example. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna go with Confed, you bastard. That's what I'm going to do in this instance. I'm not a traitor. I deeply regret, and I'm already dead. So, Catscratch stays with us, whichever side we choose. And now we're sticking with our Confed here, and we're going after Eisen, I guess, which immediately gives us to a new CD, which gives you an impression, thinking back. It's like, huh. We immediately go to another city. Perhaps this is not quite the choose your own adventure we were led to believe, because we just skipped. Why did we skip? I'm going to tell you guys right now, you stick with the Border Worlds, you're going to be on that other CD for a lot longer. But here's Paulson giving us a thank you for being with Confed here. And we're going to go have a talk. Now, Catscratch is now our only wingman, by the way. Defecting to the enemy. We're lost. We don't know what the hell's going on. Again, the game is giving you not so subtle hints here that you made the wrong choice. It's giving you, you have the option. Yeah, we're nudging. Yeah, you had the option, but no. You definitely made the wrong choice. Which is very unfortunate. If you're gonna have so many options be a good and evil, black and white kind of deal, then why couldn't you have made a goddamn game that had an evil path, a truly evil path? Why? I really want to know, what could I have done had I befriended Seether here? But it just doesn't give you that option. It's telling you with the looks, you look into Seether's eyes, look at that list of people. Half the people are AWOL. Catscratch is the only wingman we can choose who is part of the story. Now, I always assume everybody watching my videos is not ignorant on the games I'm covering, even if it's a not so well of a known game. I present these games, these reviews, in a way which does not insult one's intelligence and assume you don't know what's coming. Regardless of if you know what's coming or not. I just feel that is the proper way to do a review. Not to explain gameplay mechanics and bullshit that everybody should know, that you should have to look up. If you truly want to know how to play the game, look it up. You should do some research. But in order to properly convey my opinion on this branching storyline here, I'm going to have to give everybody a little rhetorical question now. Does anybody out there think that we are going to remain with Confed here? Does anybody think that we are not going to go over to the Union of Border Worlds as Eisen has? Anybody out there hasn't played this game? What do you think? What do you think, huh? No, this game is definitely telling you what is going to happen very shortly, and that's unfortunate in terms of storytelling. Now this is a very good scene. Now you see some good scenes acted here. This is a very tense, awesome scene to witness. But the fact is, especially if you've played this game before, and even if you haven't played the game before, you are being led to go with the good guys, you know. So you're gonna miss out on this very well acted, intense scene that you deserve to see. This scene here too. This is, look at this. Freaking Mark, you sound like, oh my god, just witnessing that, like, it makes my blood boil, and I love Mark Hamill as an actor. Just witnessing it, son of a bitch. It is my opinion that everybody out there deserves to see a scene this good. So why couldn't they have welded it into the larger story, which the story is Confed has become corrupt, and it's time to ship out and go to these other guys. That's the story, no matter what you choose. That is the story they are telling. The question is how fast you get to that point, and you're either going to miss out on good scenes over there, or you're going to miss out on good scenes over here based on that. And after only a few missions, a few little patrol missions trying to find, you know, Eisen, here we are. Here we are with the exact, you know, same choice again. Eisen wants us to join. He's just trying to convince us, and here, you don't have a choice, buddy. You can say no, again, you can say no. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't win. You can't win. You could destroy Eisen's carrier, and somehow, out of nowhere, your carrier is going to explode, even if nobody's there. It's an event that is planned. Your only option is to join Eisen. I'm going to tell you that this is one of the best games of all freaking time. It is one of my favorite games of all time. But I'm telling you, this branching, this fake storyline, you have a choice. But no, you really don't have a choice. You can love a game as deeply as I do and still understand that they made the wrong decision here with the fake branchings here. And believe me, I am not done talking about these fake choices you have. Nevertheless, it's not like I don't really want to be this evil bastard or anything. I love the story of Wing Commander 4. It is the best told story of any of the Wing Commanders. Most definitely has the most drama. Most certainly, and it's great. Of course, the enemies, they somehow got out of there. Caesar's gonna take care of the captain there. Like this crap, look at this! Look at it, this is tense blood. Like, I was like shocked when I first saw this. This game had a mature rating as the third one did, but it deserves it. It deserved it because it's an intense game. Intense and oh so enjoyable. Oh, the game. It's just the drama here. Now, I'm actually going backwards in time now to my playthrough, my good playthrough here, and showing you some of the scenes that we missed out on. Although a lot of these scenes you'll actually get to see, regardless of how long it took you to switch sides, because they're the introductory scenes, and they're going to show you them again. So, you know, again, here's a Maniac, another scene where we're having a nice, intense conversation, friendly conversation, humane conversation that brings out another side of Maniac, which is great. And we're meeting all these new other people, and suddenly it feels like a game again. It feels like Wing Commander 3 when you first join the Victory, and you're just presented with all these new people, because these are the people you're going to be dealing with for the entire story. We've played, you know, almost half of the game at this point, and we haven't had any of this experience with meeting all these new people. It's just they've kept us closed off the entire time. Look, now we've got new ships. We've got a mechanic, just like in the last ones. We always had a mechanic. You know, now it's a brand new game. It's Wing Commander 4, and we actually get to pilot some new ships. This is a new game all of a sudden. Why did it take so long for you to give it to us? I can't tell you how disappointed I was when I first played the game. And I was like, what? I just played these damn ships. You know, and it takes half the game before you can actually get on to these other ships. And all the crux, the whole entire crux of the story, the heart of the story, the drama of the story, it all starts now. And all these ships, they have new abilities. like this awesome. I love the Stormfire. It is like my favorite weapon. It's essentially a machine gun in space rather than these lasers or plasma guns or something. You're firing a machine gun at people, which has a limited amount of ammunition, but when it hits, oh, it does nice. We have a leech cannon. We had the leech missiles before. Now we have a leech cannon, which will disable the ship, and we can come back to it later on. And look, you see that arrow? It's like, look, now suddenly we're seeing arrows. We're seeing the Excalibur, which was in Wing Commander 3. That's 2 Confed ships that were in Wing Commander 3 that we didn't even get in Wing Commander 4 when we were with Confed. You're going to recycle the planes from the last game, but you're not going to let me play with the best ship from the last game? What were you thinking there? I'm going a little overboard. Exaggerating a little bit with my anger there. But that is essentially to, so everybody out there takes the nostalgia glasses off, because you can't. I'm telling you, I know this game like the back of my hand. That's how much I love it. That's how much I respect it. But at the same time, it takes somebody that loves it in order to properly give it criticism, I would say. This is too beloved of a franchise for anybody that does not like it to say one goddamn thing in criticism. Fuck those people. No, I love this game, and therefore I have the right to criticize it for certain things. So now, after we get a lot more missions out of the Border World side, and then eventually we come to the mission we've already seen before, where we have to eventually get rid of the Lexington there. So, again, like, it's so obvious that the choice was you were supposed to go to the Border Worlds, because you actually get more missions before you eventually catch up with the other side when you choose the Border Worlds. So again, this is the same scene we saw before, showing you guys. So now we are on the same page here. And that's actually not quite true, actually, because although we are, technically speaking, on the same page at this moment, there are still missions, extra missions that you get for choosing the Border Worlds first. So we haven't quite caught up yet. I gotta take this second here to talk about what I feel is the love of my Wing Commander life. Now, Angel will always be the true love, especially if you've played the first 2 games and the secret operations, secret missions and stuff. Panther here is the post-Angel love. And a lot of people who only got into Wing Commander after the interactive movies don't even like Angel because they never experienced her. But I adore Angel, and I adore Panther now. Wing Commander 3 gave us several options with Flint or Rachel, and I love Flint too. But they were kind of like this rebound kind of deal, and it was also a, throw these sexy women at the nerd playing the video game kind of deal. This is a actual love. You know why? Because it's gray. Because there is no kissing involved. There is no I love yous. There is nothing like that. There is no sappy bullshit that is so prevalent in so many games or any storyline or anything, that deals with love. It is so obvious. It's this 14-year-old mentality thing. It's not a true adult relationship. And you know why? Right there. See that little pat? And then that pat, and he just puts his hand on her shoulder. Every interaction with Panther and you, that is how it goes down. There is no mention of love. There is no direct flirtations. I know there are a lot of nerds out there who are not going to understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying if you've ever truly been in love or loved somebody that you knew you couldn't be with for so many complicated reasons, but there was something there, then you know what I'm talking about. Then you know that Panther is real, is true, actual love. And maybe it never happens, maybe it never evolves into that. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have, a sexual relationship or a kissing relationship or any of that stuff to truly be in love with somebody. That was my little essay on Panther, the true love of the Wing Commander universe, at least post-Angel. Everyone else out there, it's it's Angel, the original, or it's Flint, or it's Rachel, depending on your tastes in women. And I'm gonna tell you all, you are all making a grave mistake, and you don't understand true love if you don't even consider Panther in the conversation. And that is unfortunate. And I feel it's also quite unfortunate that the Wing Commander book, yeah, that's how much I love this game. I have the Wing Commander 4 novel, which I'm going to flip through at some point a little later. But I just want to say, they attempt to force a relationship out of Blair and the communication officer, Sosa, which is terrible. Like, it's terribly forced. It is. Wing Commander 4 is not the greatest novel. There's just so many liberties he took. I don't think he knew all of the story when he wrote that book, and unfortunately, he really delves into things that he has no business delving into with Wing Commander 4. And one of them is trying to get Blair to manufacture a relationship with Sosa, who eventually goes off with the younger Catscratch there, which she does in the game too, but there is absolutely no connection whatsoever in the actual game between you and Sosa. There's nothing there. Maybe this one tiniest little awkward scene, but it was like no. That author would have seen the chemistry there with Panther. Like never in a million years he would have made the relationship been about Blair and Panther. The drama keeps on rolling here in Wing Commander 4, where our old friend Vagabond, a character so beloved and dear to our hearts from Wing Commander 3. Yeah, they just killed him. And that was so damn shocking the first time I saw it. The first time I played the game, I did not actually see the death. I was just told about the death. We lost Vagabond. So this is actually, despite we have caught up on the timeline between, the Lexington, that side, and, we've caught up. Yet we're still playing missions on the Border World side that we're not gonna see if we came onto the Border Worlds later on, which is sad. This is a very tense moment, and we're gonna miss this. And I just feel like there's no reason this shouldn't have been included, regardless of when you switched over. And it's just one of those things that they included, so when you went back to play it a second time, because they gave you every reason to believe you should play it a second time, that's just one of those things they leave in there so you feel like you got your money's worth playing it a second time. Well, honestly, I just wish you would have put all of this footage in together and I would have just had this massive experience. Alright guys, let's look at some of the goodies that I've got with the game, my original game here, Wing Commander 4, The Price of Freedom. The very first page there is actually the spot for the pamphlet, the manual kind of thing. Look at all those CDs, everybody. Yeah, 6 CDs for Wing Commander 4, and room for another one, too. I don't know why. There's room for a 7th one. It does not have 7 CDs. I don't know. Maybe they left something out. I don't know. Wing Commander 4, a hell of a lot of CDs, a hell of a lot of disc swapping eventually. So now we're presented with what assume we're supposed to feel is the game manual, which is presented very poorly. You see that one, yeah, it's just a bunch of reading. Now, occasionally you have some statistical information on the ships or missiles and such. This is word for word, chapters like 1 through 4 of the Wing Commander 4 novel. They put before the goddamn game was released, they had it all ready. They're trying to sell you the damn book. The manual is nothing but the damn book. And I'm telling you, I have the book. I've read the book. That is one of the poorest of the books. I believe Fleet Action is probably the best book, but End Run is also good. Wing Commander 3 is excellent. Wing Commander 4, I don't know what the hell went on with Wing Commander 4. It's just a poor book in comparison to the rest. But essentially, the game manual for Wing Commander 4 is just the goddamn book. How dare you, include that as trying to get more money out of you, and that's a damn shame. Meanwhile, in the background there, we have now finally caught up, At this point in time, we have now finally caught up. The two sides have finally caught up. This is the first mission where both sides, regardless of when you chose to go from one side to the other, this is the first mission that you both will experience. And there is that book. It's actually worth. If you're truly a fan of Wing Commander, then you should own these Wing Commander books and read them, because you will get a lot out of them that you never would have gotten from the game. But my thing is, the book is what is considered canon. Oh my god, you Wing Commander CIC nuts. And this is canon because it's in the book. No, it is not canon because it's in the book. Chris Roberts can willy-nilly pick and choose whatever the fuck. No, the game is what is canon, and the game offers you some choices. Therefore, no. I just can't stand people that are anal about canon this and canon that. Nintendo canon. The Super Mario Brothers movie never happened, according to Nintendo. That's how much canon matters. Because of that crap, you will live your life a whole lot easier if you just... The game. The game is what is canon, period. Now, I'm showing off the actual, color manual little booklet, which is a very nice booklet like Wing Commander 3 was. I'm going to talk about the Kilrathi here now. First time we see the Kilrathi since the end of Wing Commander 3.
Like him? Doesn't look like him?
This particular Kilrathi has a name, Melick. A central character in Wing Commander 3. Thrakos, the main Kilrathi. Thrakos, a sidekick there, Melick. This is not Melick. Doesn't look like him.
Melick
doesn't sound like
not
him.
Done you well.
You can hear me in the background live when I was playing the game. That's how much I cannot stand that Chris Roberts took absolutely no time and effort into the Kilrathi, and oh man, I guess it was a sign of things to come for the absolutely terrible Wing Commander movie, which I own 2 copies of. So yes, I have every ability, every right to badmouth the terrible laughing stock that is the Wing Commander movie. Not so subtle jab at the Wing Commander CIC, which insists on promoting this terrible movie as if it's something special, just because the owner of the site happened, that was his first exposure to Wing Commander. Oh, I gotta just show all the love. You can like a goddamn movie that everybody else hates and still recognize that everybody else hates it, and not act as if everybody loves it, and not totally ignore the absolute truth that is coming from so many people. And of course, according to the CIC, the movie is also canon when there are direct conflicts between the actual games and this movie, and these assholes want to say the movie is what is canon, not the actual games. You know what? Chris Roberts may have done a lot of good things. He was a poor film director, and it's my opinion that I and a whole lot of Wing Commander fans deserve an apology for the Wing Commander film, and you can still like the film. I can still respect that you like the film, but how dare you act as if you were not in the very smallest of minorities in liking that film. You could at least, come out and say that it's all fanboyism, probably, in your heart, that it's all fanboyism, or, yeah, I really like it, but goddamn, they could have done so much better with it, and they didn't. You want to act as if this thing deserves an Academy Award. That's how delusional some fanboys are. I just gotta get my kicks in at the scene. I know those people, they're watching it, and they'll watch every last fucking second of it. They're gonna hate it, but they'll watch every last second of it, and that's why I gotta do it. I've been a member of that forum forever. I've only made like 3 posts in my entire life since like 2000 being on that forum. That's how terrible that forum is to me, and the fanboyism that goes on there. The site itself, the news page, a wonderful, invaluable resource. Some of the people form. I digress, though. Let's get back to the game. Although I will say one last thing. Watch them watch this entire video. Almost 2 hours. Watch them watch the entire thing. And, they won't recommend it because they won't, say... They recommend some of the most terrible videos on Wing Commander. Just because it's a new video on Wing Commander... Oh, I bet your ass they will not just say one damn thing about this video. They won't link this video because, I had some balls and I put them in their place a little bit. And you know what? That's why I deserve to get recommended more than any of those people, because all those other people, they do recommend CIC. And you know what? You remember Maniac at the beginning?
Got a clear path there.
Yeah, remember Maniac with that ass-kissing noise? That's what all those other people are doing. I don't need your goddamn help. But I know they're gonna be there, because I'm gonna review every last single Wing Commander. Not just Wing Commander 1, 2. I'm gonna review the secret operations separately. The secret missions separately. I'm gonna do Armada and Academy. Oh yeah, they're gonna be there. They're gonna know me, and they're gonna hate me, and I don't care. And to get back to what I was originally intending to speak about, we've just saved the Kilrathi, which would have been a much nicer thing, I believe, had the named character of Melick actually been Melick, the voice actor, in the same Jim Henson Muppet tier stuff that was originally in Wing Commander 3. They actually had, the Jim Henson Company doing the Muppets from Wing Commander 3. I don't know what the hell they were doing for Wing Commander 4. But that was not Melick. They should have just name it whatever. Name him some random Kilrathi name. They shouldn't have used the Melick name and then given him a different costume and given him a different voice actor. And I really hope this is coming off as somebody that absolutely adores and loves this game and loves the series and loves the Kilrathi as an enemy. It's a great, oh my god. They are such the perfect villainous enemy. And I love seeing them in this game. I love that we got another chance to save them there. But I am, as a fan of this game, as somebody that loves this game as much as I do, I'm sorry, but it has to be said that thing was not Melick. And Chris Roberts, what the hell were you thinking when you accepted that? There's so many ways to go about things. You didn't have to bring Melick back and give him that pathetic excuse of a suit and of a voice actor. Now I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe the original voice actor for Melick was Tim Curry. So, yeah, you're not gonna do better than Tim Curry there, the original voice actor for Melick. Oh, God. Anyway, remember that payoff I was talking about at the very beginning of the game? The very beginning of the game? Here it is.
This one, he's a real prince.
If we didn't give him the money,
When you're down and out.
he's an asshole to us. That's our payoff for being good or evil in the beginning of the game. This is the last one. He won't tell us anything. And what does that mean? This whole time we've been leading up to this, what does that mean? It means, well, he doesn't tell us where the cap ship is. So now we go on a search and destroy of 3 nav points. Wow.
I'm sure you have ways of getting more
Yeah,
information.
that's what a great payoff you gave us for being good and evil in the very beginning of the game. And they touted it as, well, there's so many things, so many options. The things you choose could have so many consequences deep into the game. And here, if we were good to him, if we gave him the money, this is what
So you're
happens.
with them now.
We have a little conversation going.
You did me a
We
good
recognize each other. We give him some coffee. We're nice pals. He's gonna give us the information we want. So all it means is now instead of going to 3 nav points on a search and destroy, we're going to 1 nav point on a search and destroy for this special cap ship. It gets to cloak and jam everybody. That's our payoff. It's a very black and white situation. You're either good or evil. No nuance in it. And fine, let me be good or evil, but at least if I'm gonna be evil, then where's all the evil? I just if that's what you're gonna be, then be like Might and Magic 7. That gives you this whole evil side that you could be on, or this good side that you can be on, and don't make the evil person feel bad about being evil. He wants to relish it, You're making judgments on the evil guy, and yeah, I understand why. But no, that's not what makes a fun element to a game, is when the people that choose to be evil, are getting shit on for being evil. They don't want to play that game. I love the game, but it has to be said, and nobody else says it. Nobody else bothers to play this game. I played 2 separate games. I had to play every single mission, twice at least, in order to give you that. I had to play the whole thing. The good and evil run starts at the very first mission. I couldn't just save the good mission, load it again, and, you know, when I come to those, you know, forks in the road there, no, I had to play 2 separate playthroughs just to give you that payoff. I hope you enjoyed it. Guess who's back, everybody? Admiral Jeffrey Toland. Now, unlike Maniac, where the games used to show him in a different light, you know, and then he got distorted into this asshole, you know, and then he's changing again in this game. You know, Jeffrey Toland, the Admiral, has always been portrayed. You know, this is from the very first moments of the second game. He's always been portrayed as quite an asshole, at least to you know, Blair. You know, at the very least, he was always portrayed as this very militaristic kind of guy, you know, very war everything, you know, and that's just how it was. The books portrayed him in a very different light, very sympathetic, which I didn't like. I didn't like the books. I mean, in one sense, you can say, oh, they gave him a human side, but again, these people that want to, you know, just glab onto Chris Roberts for everything as canon, they just want to, you know, that's why they love the movie so much, because it came from Chris Roberts. They don't want to say anything bad against Chris Roberts. Well, Chris Roberts, I'm telling you, well, it's so obvious that from day one, the intent with Chris Roberts was to have this character as a very obvious, you know, maybe not evil in the first ones, but he was definitely...
When you put it like that.
Yeah, exactly. When you put it like that. Why did the game... Like, the question, the Admiral just, am I your prisoner of war? And the way they phrase your response is, I owe him, or I owe him nothing. Now, if they would have rephrased it a little differently to say, well, you know, it's probably not a good idea to have this guy on board, then maybe I would have let him go. But they phrase it as, I owe him, or I owe him nothing. And I'm telling you, other than maybe the first time I played it, every single time since, I gladly say I owe him nothing, because Blair does not owe the Admiral anything. So he chose to not believe this very decorated pilot, accuse him as being a traitor, you know, and not see the signs or anything, and he just treated us like absolute shit in Wing Commander 2. He treated us like absolute shit in Wing Commander 3. He treated the captain, Eisen, as absolute shit in Wing Commander 3. He had this great big idea, and it failed, and at Wing Commander 3, he's a little douchebag, okay? And it's another one of those choices that don't matter, because either you say you owe him and you release him, or you say you don't owe him, you keep him there, and then Maniac releases him. So it's another one of those damn choices where it's not a choice. But guess what, everyone? We are actually getting to the very first real choice we've had in this entire game. And again, I'm going to say it's an unfortunate one, because both of these choices are choices that I wish were in the game. I wish they were just in the game, period. I wish, like, we get a chance, we can go save a bunch of people, which is what I always do, because I want to be the good guy, and I think that's what the game wants you to do. That's the way it's portrayed by Panther here, who I love. I love Panther. The choice is clear. Innocent people. Hawk is going to say, well, the choice is not so clear, because we can't win battles anywhere unless we get some weapons, so let's go over there. But, you know, how are you going to argue with innocent people are being killed? You've got to go with Panther. You've got to go with Panther, and I've almost always gone with Panther. And you know what? The missions are better on the other way. If you say Hawk is right, the missions are better. You know, not only are they better, they offer you something tangible that these set of missions will not offer you. So, but except these missions offer you a good feeling in your heart. And the problem is, it didn't need to be that way. They could have just given you both missions. You could have just gone to both systems. And not only do they give you, you know, completely different set of missions, we have a set of 3 options, and we get to choose in which order, which 3 missions we want to do. But in reality, you only have 2 missions that you can do. Again, like the game, it presents you with this illusion of choice, even when you have a choice, when you don't really have a choice. And this is one of the hardest, absolute hardest missions in the entire game. Good luck. Like on Ace mode, this one only the best can win this mission on Ace mode.
Nobody here signed up for a suicide
But if
mission.
we're gonna go with Hawk,
Can't send anyone.
and again, I've only played this series of missions less than a handful of times, and I played this game over 100 times. Less than a handful of times. So, like, when I saw this again for the first time in a long time, I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen that in such a long time. And we get to steal fighters. You know, we get to attack manufacturing plant. We get to attack a carrier. Like, just steal fighters. Like, and we're in asteroids. This whole thing is taking place in an asteroid, and this game has utterly ignored asteroids, other than the very first mission, and Wing Commander 3 and 4, they both, like, they've destroyed the mechanic of asteroids, which was set in Wing Commander 1 and 2, to where asteroids were actually kind of dangerous and fun for me, but then asteroids in Wing Commander are kind of like the way most people view swimming levels in Mario or Sonic games and stuff. They just think, well, this is the most absolute unnecessary thing. We all, and they always say all, everybody hates, you know, swimming levels. Everybody hates the asteroids. I'm sorry, I love the asteroids in Wing Commander 1 and 2, and I feel quite strongly that the people that don't like swimming levels in Mario or Sonic, or the people that don't like asteroids in Wing Commander, are people that are just, they're poor. They get killed constantly. They drown constantly, or they can't stand the changing mechanic, and they're utterly, you know, dumbfounded by it, and that's why they hate it. It has nothing to do with the gameplay or mechanic or anything. They just hate it because they suck. Or if they don't suck, then it's just this childhood. They're reaching back to their childhood when they remember sucking, even though they don't want to admit it. They remember how, you know, terrible they were at, you know, the swimming levels in Mario, even though nowadays they never even see the Mario swimming levels because they use warps and they just bypass them. For me, it feels that way with the asteroids in Wing Commander. I was sad that mechanic was just, like, they nerfed it. Like, there's nothing. The asteroids don't mean anything anymore, and that's sad. But here, you see that? We got a new ship now. First, choosing these set of missions and stealing those fighters, we get a brand new fighter, which I utterly forgot that was a thing that happened, because I never played those set of missions. Here's an entire, you know, fighter that we will never get a chance to see if we choose to do the honorable thing and save those civilians. Like, this is a nice fighter. This is I think, probably like the second best fighter in the game. It is so cool to be able to play these missions and to have this extra fighter, and it's sad that the game chose to go this route of, you know, this pretend illusion, choose your own adventure thing, you know, good or evil. We had to be good or evil to, you know, go and get these fighters? Like, it didn't have to be portrayed that way. I wish I could have played these missions and still felt good as a person, because it just happened to be the next, you know, system we went to after the civilian thing or something, you know? It would have been nice to have used those fighters, but alas, no. The Catscratch here is in trouble. We sent him on a little bit of a secondary run to get a satellite. Just an easy little mission. I think he was following a little bit of advice from Maniac, and he got himself into a little bit of trouble. So we have the options now of either going to save him or not. There's actually like 3 different ways this can all turn out. So if we're the asshole, we choose not to do it. Sosa comes back with this. Catscratch will die because we didn't go to save him. And Sosa's going to be very sad and pissed off at us. That's one of the options there. Well, perhaps we go and save him, but we're unsuccessful. Maybe he dies anyway. So this is the other option. This is another option. There's another option. We can actually save him, but here's the option where we attempt to save him, but we're unsuccessful and we die, which is actually the one I choose to do most often. I go to save him, but I kind of let him die. And I have a reason for that, a good reason, I believe. It presents you with this very nice funeral, you know, and Catscratch is never presented as, you know, such a wonderful character to me. And I didn't feel that bad for him dying, but either Sosa will respond to us and I know you tried, or she will say, you know, you didn't even try. You didn't even try. She'll be very angry if you didn't even attempt to save him. But if you attempt to save him and you fail, you get a couple nice, dramatic kind of things, and they're sad, but at least they make you feel, which is more than I can say for what happens should you save him.
Punched out an old friend because of it.
And here he references punching out Paladin when he learns of Angel's death, which is, it's nice, it's dramatic, like it makes you feel, which is nice. So here we are actually saving Catscratch, and yeah, Sosa's very happy from the bottom of her heart. But what does the game have to say about it? What is the game?
What did I tell
Gives us this little, scene with Maniac and the Catscratch here.
Sorry, sir. I just want to know how the hell you got in that.
And we're understandably pissed off at
I guess you
him.
got a little too clever, sir. I fire off
But
a
we
couple
learn,
of decoys like Maniac was talking about.
that Maniac is responsible because he was giving Catscratch a little advice.
I should have known. If I ever hear you handing out advice again, I will personally put a big red bullseye on your back and declare an open season. Hey,
I love that.
Should do any of that stuff.
But here we are, pissed off at Catscratch, and what we're going to do, we're going to say, we're not going to ground you. We don't have enough pilots. Consider yourself on probation. Probation. What does probation mean in the Union of Border Worlds or for the rest of this game? I'll tell you exactly what it means. It means nothing. It means Catscratch gets utterly erased. He gets erased from the kill board. He doesn't even exist. Catscratch does not exist if you save him. He doesn't exist. He's never in the game again. You never see him. He's never referenced in zero ways whatsoever. Catscratch is, not only is he, he's dead, but he's erased. At least if he dies, he's still on the kill board. He's listed as dead. But if he lives and he's on this probation, this mystical probation, because we're so desperate to have pilots, we can't ground anybody. We can't even have him on our wing. He is gone. He is gone. I'm gonna just say I love the game, but in retrospect, that was a terrible way. And this is what happens. This late in the game, if you fail a mission that you were supposed to, win, that the game has decided you can't lose, and you eject or something like that, Confed finds you, and they execute you. Nice job there. We get this transport of the Admiral, sends us on our way to disable this transport, send Decker over there, and we get some new fighters. We get this new little curious thing that players are so cavalier about.
I didn't go bang.
Go bang. I can remember my father watching that for the first time, and I was watching him watch it, and he was like, what did you just do? Like, that was so stupid that you just did. Obviously for comedic effect, when my father took it so seriously. He's like, no, nobody would ever do that. So let me introduce you to the Dragon, the single best ship in the entire vocabulary of all Wing Commander games. And you know why? I have a very specific reason for this. All Wing Commander games make it a habit of announcing within the game itself what the pilots and what the captain and what everybody else thinks is the best fighter in the game. In Wing Commander 1, they called it the Rapier. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the Rapier is not the best ship in Wing Commander 1. It is most definitely at least debatable, and I think it's pretty damn obvious that the Rapier, I don't even think the Rapier is as good as the Scimitar, but it is most definitely not as good as the Raptor. But that's the godlike ship in Wing Commander 1. Wing Commander 2, it is called the Saber. Everybody else says the Saber. It's got the power of the broadsword, but you got afterburners and stuff. Wrong. The Saber has absolutely zero shields. You will be blown out of the water. The broadsword, despite not having afterburners, is the better ship in Wing Commander 2. Wing Commander 3 is called the Excalibur, and now the Excalibur is actually a very good ship, and it is mostly the best ship in the game. However, it's lacking something that would make it most definitely obviously the best ship in the game, and that is torpedoes. The Excalibur doesn't have any torpedoes, and there are a hell of a lot of missions in Wing Commander 3 where you're attacking Kilrathi carriers, and despite having the Excalibur, the best ship, you either gotta, find a little little hole in the back of the ship to just keep shooting your guns at it until the ship explodes, or you gotta go with another ship that has torpedoes. And therefore, the Excalibur is not the best ship. Not definitely, because there's too many other things. There's too many other opportunities where you have to have the other ships. So it's not obviously the best. You know, then Wing Commander 5 would return to the bullshit with claiming that the Vampire was the best ship, and it is a good ship, but I don't think it's as good as the Panther, you know, in your last squadron. So, this is the only game. Wing Commander 4 is the only one, and it doesn't tell you, that's the thing. Every other game, it actually, like, within the game, the people within the game are just clamoring about this best awesome ship, the whatever, and it doesn't live up to its expectations. This is the only one. They don't say a damn thing about it, you know. Player says, wow, it looks impressive or whatever, but they don't really say, oh, this is an awesome fucking thing or whatever. You're left to decide for yourself if this is an awesome ship. And it is. This is the best fighter in any of the Wing Commander games. So let's talk contemporary reviews of the time. For now, from what I could find, and I was not able to find the wealth of screenshots from actual magazines that I'd like to find. But from what I could find, especially... oh my god, the British. From the British, especially, it's mostly negative in a way. Seems to be same old, you know, the movie's impressive, but the gameplay sucks. But we'll give some shitty soccer game that nobody fucking remembers an extra half star. Yeah, nice. How about this one? The price of success is eternal replication. Yeah, I'd call you a cynical old fuck. But I was able to find a few good ones here. Yeah, these guys note the it's all in the space combat, and that's where it shines. These guys note not as good as X-Wing. A lot of X-Wing comparisons. X-Wing didn't even have a fucking story. But they notice it won't leave you breathless, but it's a lot of fun while it lasts. Could not find a magazine origin for this one, but it's dated from 1996, and this guy, he likes it. Yeah, it's a great chapter and an excellent series and will provide a thrilling experience for a long time. Now, I'll say the CIC is good at a lot of things. They are terrible at archiving reviews. You look at, you know, the Hall of Amiga site, and they have, you know, reviews for just about every Amiga game ever made there with actual screenshots from actual magazines. CIC, terrible. I had to go in their search feature for their news, look for some of that stuff. And again, very British-oriented, most of it, and the British always concerned about money, you know, did not seem to like Wing Commander. It's my belief. Now, I could be wrong, because I couldn't find many American reviews for Wing Commander. I found a hell of a lot of previews, including my very own scans I had. The American magazines were also focused on the money, but from a different way. Was it worth the production budget of $12 million, the most expensive game at the time? But overall, they were all, like, there are like feature upon feature of Wing Commander 4 previews in these magazines. They are very excited about this game, you know, and probably excited just to bash it later, but I don't know. It is my experience that for the most part, the actual reviews from American magazines were generally positive. There was definitely, you know, not as good gameplay-wise as TIE Fighter kind of thing. There was mention of the gameplay, perhaps being at an expense of the story, but it was my experience that quite a lot of them loved the story so much that they completely overlooked the gameplay. And I seem to remember them thinking that this was the better game over Wing Commander 3. It's not my opinion. I believe Wing Commander 3 is the better overall game. But I feel like the magazines at the time were liking this one more. I guess I could be wrong, because I couldn't find any actual screenshots of magazines from back in the day to prove this. Nevertheless, from what I could find, those were some terrible shit. Like, people should not get paid to do reviews. That, I think, the more I do reviews for YouTube, the more I realize this. Critics, they're just such terrible assholes. And yeah, I'm an asshole too, but guess what? I'm not getting paid for this. This is all passion, okay? It's a completely different ball game when you are getting paid to make cynical bullshit reviews versus it's a passion of yours. So, I might be an asshole, but my opinion is actually worth listening to. Those reviewers were not worth reading. So after a brutal biological attack on a border world planet that killed most of the people, we find the secret base of our enemies here, and guess what? We see a couple friends here. There's Seether, oh, no surprise there, but we got good old Admiral Jeffrey Tolwyn here, the mastermind behind all of it. Blair sits there just looking stunned. He doesn't think our victory over the Kilrathi was anything special, probably because it wasn't his weapon that destroyed them. And I'm thinking that's probably why. But Seether here eventually notices us. I remember my dad watching this at the time, and he's like, why aren't you, pretending? Why aren't you acting, with everybody else in that room? Why aren't you putting your fists up and pretending to be one of these Black Lance people? You put on their uniform, why don't you get your fists up? That's what got you noticed, is you're just sitting there stunned and dazed. But this whole scene is it's a fantastically acted scene from all involved, especially, Blair, Mark Hamill, and Malcolm McDowell. It's just, Malcolm McDowell, I hate Admiral Tolwyn. I've always hated him, the way he was written. He's not quite the same in the books. I don't care. I still hate the character. But Malcolm McDowell just plays him. You love to hate him because he's just so well acted. This is actually the girl that slapped Maniac way earlier on. We rescued her from a planet. And she is the scientist involved in creating these biological weapons. These selective weapons, like computer-controlled nanobot biological weapons that can kill the people it chooses to kill. Which is a genuine terrifying kind of thought that you could release some kind of biological weapon instead of just murdering everybody. It murders the select few that it chooses to murder. Tolwyn has descended into utter madness in his quest to remain relevant in his old age. Maybe that's the excuse. I don't. The book did try to give him a valid excuse into descending into madness. You could tell the author of the book. The author of the book is the reason Admiral Tolwyn is looked at a little more fondly in some circles, is because he was the one that's responsible for writing most of Tolwyn. In the books, as long as Blair is not around, Tolwyn is a very fair guy, especially with his nephew. I think his nephew was a main character in one of the books, Endrun, I think. But I can't say, Tolwyn, as a character, like this, I had no problem believing this is what would become of him. There was no, that is the way the character is. He's a maddening war kind of guy. And every single time you see him in the actual games, he's got that fire of crazy in his eyes. Guess I never will forgive him for that whole, I know the destruction of the Tiger Claw was your fault. Oh, what the hell,
we launch a preemptive strike.
So we get another option to choose. We have the Flashpack now. This special weapon that superheats the interior of a ship and just destroys it from the inside out. We gotta catch Tolwyn, but we gotta take a shortcut here. Now, do we want to use the Flashpack on this civilian-populated starbase, which is a very hard mission? It's one of the hardest missions. Or do we make it a hell of a lot easier by using the Flashpack and kill thousands upon thousands of civilians that are in this space station? Again, it's just more obvious, black and white. Are you good or are you evil? Not much gray area here, and that's sad. But look at that, that's a nice looking little thing there. Look at the graphics here. This is me destroying it with the Flashpack, I believe. I don't know if I actually caught it launching it on the camera there, but there you see it destroying itself from the inside.
Mission complete.
So you'll get a different end scene. You'll either see the station completely just dead, lifeless, or should you complete the very tough mission that is defending yourself without the Flashpack, then you'll see it still there, which is what I always do. It's a very tough mission, especially on Ace mode. I don't think too many people were playing it on Ace mode, but it's a very hard mission on Ace mode. We catch up with Tolwyn. He's got some balls, so he's gonna do a little 180 on us here. active scene as well. The emotion in this scene right
He's
here.
ready to jump point, and he's turning around.
Battle stations, scramble everybody, all pilots up now!
Oh yeah, it's like it really gets your juices flowing. And it's a hectic fucking battle. It's just automatically puts you right into the cockpit, and it's just shit going on in all directions. Eventually, I think it's just scripted that eventually you can just land, regardless of if all the enemies are gone or not, and you can just autopilot it. And so I don't know. It's more of a story-driven kind of scene there, but I like that scene. And yeah, we got David versus Goliath here until another ship, a little twin, comes to the rescue. So do you guys understand the reasoning for me showing so much of this game? Like, just look at this drama. It's so engulfed with drama. And yeah, I know I've got some spoilers. This game is 20 years old. Fuck the spoilers, guys. If you haven't played this game by now, you're insane, and showing you clips can only help you understand that you actually should play this game a little more, and you should. This game deserves to be played. It is one of the best games of all time. It's not my favorite Wing Commander. It's not my favorite game. Wing Commander 3 is my favorite Wing Commander. Wing Commander 3 is, tied with my favorite game. It's either Wing Commander 3 or it's Might and Magic 6. Two very different games. Oh, hell yeah, is this game an important game in the history of computer gaming. And those reviewers that you saw earlier, were they so guilty of not looking at the bigger picture. Just, give the soccer game an extra half star because the soccer game lives on, does it? No. This game actually lives on. It will continue to live on for all time. Even if people don't play it, it will always be a footnote to everything because of the budget and the pure grandeur. 35mm film, a computer game with 35mm film. So we can... This mission's actually easy either way. If you use a salvo of missiles, you can either use the Flashpack on it, which will fry it very easily. Here's the Flashpack. You fly in, you launch the Flashpack, and you fly the hell out. But even if you don't use the Flashpack, you can just, link all of your missiles together, get into the hangar there, and it blows up just as easily when you do it that way. But most people aren't thinking about all that. You press B to link all your missiles together in a salvo. So is it too late into the review to show you some of the controls of the game? Again, I assume people are not stupid, so but that's just an example of how many controls there are. If you learn the shortcuts, which I have them engraved into my memory for all time, the combat especially becomes so much easier. Despite the destroying Admiral Tolan's ship, of course, just like always, they managed to slip out. Here's our final kill scores: 136 for the good guys, 162 for the bad guy. I guess I got a little more of the evil track. The beautiful cloud-covered, watery planet of Earth, right there. Oh, it's a nice view. You can say what you want about fucking X-Fighter, whatever. X-Fighter was a little too involved, if you ask me, and it had no fucking story. This is actual gameplay here. This is just fun, absolute fun. Here's Seether. We're gonna uncloak ourselves. We're gonna go after. Normally Seether is a super easy guy. I just stuck around a little longer just so I could insult him a little more. I love the taunting of aces, especially in Wing Commander 3. It was very fun in Wing Commander 3. Not so much in Wing Commander 4. They don't give the aces, very special treatment. You notice the kill board. It said I killed like 22 aces. It's like there's only like 10 aces in the entire Wing Commander 3 game, and they all have special video and stuff, and not so in Wing Commander 4. But yeah, whatever. See, it's fun to taunt them a little bit until you just let go of a bunch of missiles on them at one time. It won't be too hard. Goodbye. See there, you rat bastard. Of course you're gonna win. Descend onto Earth. Tolan is waging his case. against the, what is this, the Galactic Senate or something, I guess? I do enjoy the futuristic Washington, D.C. they got on display here. This is the end of the game, folks, and it's a mixed feelings kind of end of the game. It's very well acted, lots of drama, but there's no gameplay. And the Seether fighting stuff beforehand, that was a very, it's a letdown in terms of gameplay for the last mission, especially when you consider all the other missions. Wing Commander 3 had a very nice mission, especially if you played it correctly as it was intended to be played. But some of these things just don't make any sense, okay? You have two options there. You can say, seize the moment, and you got Blair, he comes out and he says, the cancer is right in front of you, it's stolen. Or, you don't have to do that necessarily. You could say, well, careful, fools rush in. It is worded in a way that I think a lot of people, when they first played this game, said, careful, fools rush in. But notice we seize the moment, and Paladin here says, if any man has deserved the right to a hearing, it's Blair, let him speak. Guess what? If you choose to be careful, because fools rush in, well, that's a very intelligent thing to think. Well, guess what? You're in for a little bit of trouble here. I think a lot of people first played this game. This is what you call bullshit gameplay. This requires you to restart the entire mission you just played, the letdown of a final mission with Seether and a couple other things too. But the whole thing, because of this one decision, this very intelligent, careful, because fools rush in. Please, Paladin, hear me out. What the fuck did we do wrong there, huh? Because of storming the Senate, suddenly Paladin has respect for us, versus if we just sat there for an extra moment, Paladin suddenly thinks we're this turncoat, and the entire assembly votes for war. Endgame, cue bad endgame sequence. It's a pretty epic endgame sequence, though. I remember seeing this a lot in the previews. Look at just everything. Send them all in. Like, you really need a force that big to do what? The border worlds weren't exactly this huge population.
The truth about what's really happening on the outer
So
fringes
you
of
play the
civilization.
entire mission
You may
again,
believe
and
that
you
this
get to
change
confront
is
Tolwyn. And some of these things you can actually play with a little more. Some of them you probably should get correct, but a lot of them you can
I'm
kind
saying
of do
this
it.
assembly has been
I love doing that one. This assembly has been duped. You can say you're not sucking me in, which is probably the safe way. But I love saying, I am saying this assembly has been duped. You require their ignorance. Isn't that just the perfect way to word it? Because it's absolutely true. So your actual goal for the endgame sequence here is just to, slowly expose Tolwyn, which as long as you've gotten past that bullshit, first sequence there, well, you can just use your mind, and you're probably going to get the correct way. Like secret unmarked fighters, nah, not really. Oh yeah, duh. So after that first one, it's not really much of a challenge in terms of, choose your own adventure, which one you should actually choose. You can use your mind. Use your mind in the first one, you get screwed, but you should use your mind in all the rest of it. Someone's going to try to weasel his little way out of it. It was just an experimental device, but no, I think we're getting to the point. I think we're convincing these people slowly but surely that we are correct, and that Tolwyn there is a little devil in disguise. I wish the attack Tolwyn actually meant, you physically started to punch him to death. Oh, I did it a couple of times, hoping that would be the case. It's not true. You just, you go after him a little more. This is so well acted that I memorized this scene completely. I know all the words.
More of a warrior than you will ever be, Gun.
He is excellent.
Excellence personified.
He is dead. And that's when you know you won, really. You won when you see the look in Toland's eyes right there when you say he's dead. Oh, this is honestly some of Mark Hamill's best acting ever. This is better than anything in Star Wars, period. You know, just listen, look at the emotion there. Just look at him right here, right here.
Tell us all, Admiral. Is that the price of freedom?
End credits.
Our society is
Perfect. And Toland himself, you know, madman, finally realizing he's losing. Malcolm McDowell. Perfect acting here from him. This is an absolute game you must play before you die. I'm actually I'd like to take this time. I know it's already at the end of the video it's at the end of an already very long video, but I want to give a little shout out to Gaming J. Another one with an interesting, unique concept. He read a book called 1001 Games You Must Play Before You Die. I don't actually like those types of books because they always seem to be written from somebody who had the bias of either a console gamer or a computer gamer, and you know they might throw in some games from the other side, but it's like you just tacked it on kind of. You never feel like they truly appreciate both genres of games. But I very much like the concept of his channel, which is going through this book one by one, these games, and deciding. A lot of them are the first time he ever played them. Some of them he's played, many times before. And when he's played them before, he goes through the memories, and I love the gaming memories. Now, he told me he was going to do Wing Commander 4, like, very soon, but I haven't seen it on his channel yet, so I will link it to the Wing Commander 4 video whenever it does come out, and until then, I'll link it to, another video that I happen to like. But I would like everybody to go and check out his channel, check out his little concept there, the Let's Play 1001 Games. So after a drama-filled military tribunal with some very good music from Joel Oldziey there, we catch up with Admiral Toland, who has been slated for execution. Well, he's going to take care of himself. A very, very good man. Thank you. Finally, you've done something right, Toland.
The rebellion in 6.
A couple different good endings you can have, quote-unquote good.
Send the carrier area.
Depends on whether or not you were an asshole throughout the game. Here, our main character, Colonel Blair here, becomes an admiral himself. And the scene is shot in a Mel Connolly kind of way. It's even Hamill himself, the way he's acting, he's like, am I really doing this? He's blowing out his lips there. It's so very obvious that, they're going for, yeah, you finished the game, but is this really the way you wanted to go? Is that really how you wanted it to end? So, again, I really think Roberts should have just abandoned the whole good-evil kind of path, because, in all honesty, if you're going to have an evil path, then the evil character should at least be happy that he's evil, It shouldn't be this making the player feel, I did it the wrong way kind of thing. And here's the good ending, where you become a flight instructor instead. And yes, it's so obvious that this is the triumphant, this is the way they wanted you to end, and yes, a good ending is a good ending to me, but they just shouldn't have even bothered with that whole evil path, because it's not done right. This is done right. When you look at the good side, the good path, that's done right, and it's a great game when you play it that way. But definitely explore the other ends too, if you like the game already. And that's the end of the game, folks. Wing Commander 4, definitely a game that you gotta play. You gotta play this game. You might not like how much movie there is there, but it's a game you have to play because it's just a game that means so much. Now, there's no funny scenes at the end of the end credits for Wing Commander 4. Unlike Wing Commander 3, I had a nice little funny scene, so I've inserted my own little funny scenes just for you guys. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna say goodbye. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you all will return. Subscribe if you want to. Love this game. Hope you all check it out if you haven't. And I hope for all of you that have seen the game before, I hope you got a nice feeling revisiting it. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up and leave you with some in-game funnies. Goodbye, everybody.
Admiral Toland.
Is he sending me a You haven't heard? He couldn't stop talking about you, Maniac. What? Well, it's classified. I mean, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. If I were you, I'd worry more about losing my shirt to Vagabond and less about who's on board. Here's your chip, kid. Go buy yourself a new ass. Drinks? Anybody? Kidding. Talk to you later. Who did that?
I'll show you some staying power.
You want a piece of me? I'll kick your ass. Come on.
This I gotta see.
All right.
Your friend's really pissing me off.
Let me take a wild guess. Maniac. What a whiner. Time to be a captain. What a whiner.
You look on the bright side. At least now you won't have to deal with that Confed promotion that finally came through. My promotion came? My promotion? Confed, that's not right.